Want to go now to Triestino Mariniello, who's a professor of law at Liverpool John Moores University. It's quite extraordinary watching these pictures, despite the deep animosities between Hamas and Israel, despite 15 months of non-stop fighting. What we have seen here is that the two sides can make an agreement and they can stick to it.
Well, good morning. First of all, many thanks for having me today. I mean, what we are seeing today is what a lot of international organizations, even UN bodies, including the Secretary General of the United Nations, and it's exactly that there was no alternative to a ceasefire, to a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, in order to put an end to the most serious violation of international humanitarian law that have been committed in these 16 months now, and has established it clearly by the International Court of Justice. Such serious violation of international humanitarian law amount to plausible genocidal acts under the Genocide Convention. So one has to hope today that this ceasefire becomes permanent and that the catastrophic situation in the Gaza Strip comes to an end soon.
And of course, these prisoner exchanges instrumental to the next phase of the ceasefire agreement discussions, we understand, after a delay set to begin today. How optimistic are you that the ceasefire will hold and these discussions will lead to a more permanent truce and a more permanent ceasefire?
Unfortunately, what we have heard in these past few days does not leave too much room for optimism. I'm referring in particular to the statements of the President Trump when he hosted the Israeli Premier Netanyahu, and in particular the reference of explicit plan of ethnic cleansing of Gaza Strip by deporting almost 2 million of people to other countries. On one side, Trump has said that he's supporting peace, but on the other side, this explicit support to a plan of ethnic cleansing, which amounts to war crimes, crimes against humanity, and also genocide under international law, does not really leave too much, as I said, room to optimism, in particular for people in the Gaza Strip who are actually shocked after 6 months of genocide to hear words, explicit words and plans of ethnic cleansing and deportation.
Part of today, as we've been discussing with our other guest, Triestino, is the kind of choreography of it all, the PR, if you like, aspect of this exchange. And some people have speculated that Hamas is really coming out on top in terms of the PR, and that is to the detriment of Israel, if you like. Of course, law and PR are not the same thing, but you mentioned those cases, ICC cases against Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant specifically. Do you think this kind of atmosphere of, you know, a PR loss for Israel, of people really seeing what's been going on in Gaza, adds to that? Or do you think the courts can really stay very separate from these things happening on the ground and the perception of what's been going on?
Well, of course, the courts must be detached from all these. The court has to put in place, in particular the Office of the Prosecutor, independent and impartial investigation in relation to what has happened since the 7th of October, in relation to the most serious violation of humanitarian law, and to shed light on what has happened also on the 7th of October and on the Gaza Strip in these past 15-16 months. It's really problematic that some states, I'm referring in particular to Israel, are not supporting this investigation, are strongly opposing. But please let me add also that the sanctions that President Trump just issued against the International Criminal Court 2 days ago risk really to threaten the existence of the court and so also the investigation and the possibility to provide justice to all the victims of this serious violation of international humanitarian law that have been committed in these past 16 months.